I was born in northern Natal, in a place called Vryheid. My mother was alone at the time. My father had left her when he found out that she was pregnant. So basically I grew up without my dad. He disappeared somewhere to Greece. My mother did as much as she could to raise my sister and myself. We moved down to Durban when I was very, very young, probably about 1 or 2 years old, staying on the bluff mainly. This is where my mother met another man when I was about 6 years old, and he was pretty much a charmer, but he ended up being schizophrenic, which meant that my mother suffered a lot of verbal, emotional and physical abuse on numerous occasions. And obviously it wasn't a good environment for us to be brought up in. And so she managed to get out of the relationship for her sake, but especially also for ours. I got a massive partial bursary to go to a private boarding school in the Midlands, which was a real blessing from the church. In my senior years, I got really passionate about God. He had gripped my heart. Together with friends, we were preaching up a storm at the school. People were getting saved all around us. Those years ended, and that's when I got a job offer in Durban. So at 19, I was back in Durban, living the life, trying to just really get going with things also in the church. I had joined a large church in Durban through my cousins, and immediately I got involved in the youth. I got involved in leading worship, leading a home group, being all sorts of things at the church, doing as much as I could, often spending more time at the church in the week than I did at work. I even tried to go to Germany to a sister church there permanently. Luckily my visa application didn't go through at the time. A few months after this, the same thing happened with the United Kingdom, where we went across there to look at a small church to assist them as well with worship, and again it didn't work out. When we got back to South Africa after that, I started feeling really, really, really tired. It seemed as though things were just getting too heavy for me. And I spoke to some of the leadership at the time, and intentionally they probably meant it well, but some of them said, push through, you guys are young, life is tough, it doesn't get any easier. Those were the type of comments I was getting, so we thought, no, that's great. We'd carry on pushing, which we did. After a few more months, I couldn't take much anymore, and I asked to actually step off some of the leadership. For my family's sake, I took the decision to just step off completely a bit and join a smaller church, just so we could regroup and be refilled again. We joined this church, and immediately I was launched into all things worship, because they needed someone desperately. So my task was to raise up new leaders, raise up new worship leaders, really, and also leading worship every Sunday twice for 6 to 8 times a month. After 6 months, I totally just hit a brick wall. I withdrew from church completely for just over 3 or 4 months. I just could not face getting up on a Sunday and going to church to face the same system, the same things that they were doing. I did end up going back after a couple of months, but it felt more like duty than anything else. After about 15 months going back to church there, we decided to actually look for a church closer to home, look for a home, should I say, in a church, and we couldn't find any, looking at many, many churches. At that time, Lauren fell pregnant. Her morning sickness was out of this world. I'd never heard of anyone having such sickness. Her legs were excruciatingly painful. She could not walk. It got so bad that I would leave for work in the morning, leaving her breakfast and snacks in bed, come back at lunch, make her lunch, make sure she's okay, go back to work, come back for dinner, do the whole routine again and again and again. We went to GPs, we went to physicians, she had x-rays, she went to physios, she went to about 16 doctors in total, and all of them put it down to a difficult pregnancy. At 34 weeks, Sienna was born early, emergency Caesar. She was in distress. Lauren doesn't remember much of her Caesar. 5 days after that, she was admitted for open heart surgery. The doctors, after her Caesar, discovered bacteria in her heart, a whole handful of it, and all this time it was actually bacteria that was killing her. It was tough. Lauren spent 6 weeks in hospital. I was visiting 2 hospitals, one where my daughter was, one where my wife was, twice a day. I took home Sienna unprepared, totally not sure what was going on. Luckily, a lot of people were bringing us meals and also just supporting us. Mom's phoning me, telling me, hey, listen, if your child does this, you can try this. So yeah, that was really encouraging. I remember getting an SMS from India, the church there, saying, we're holding you guys up in prayer, we're praying for you. And I read this to Lauren, and I said, Lauren, who do we know in India? We didn't even know these people. So that is where we started learning again how church actually functions. We eventually found a church, the church we're in now. It seems to be that this church gets us. There are a lot of people that have walked difficult journeys as well. It's awesome to be able to serve God and serve people with people like this. It's taken us 3 years to get to the point where we are now, where we feel we can start giving out again. So yeah, we know that God restores, we know that God guides, and we know that He's always at our side.